Let's date forever. Here's your weekly dose of relationship fuel with Sammi and Nathan Jaeger. Hello and welcome to Date Forever. This week's episode is a little bit of a Valentine special.
Happy Love Day, everyone.
Yeah, happy Love Day.
So no matter how you feel about this day, whether or not you think it is commercial bullshit or you like the opportunity to love up on your person and the people in your life, thanks for joining us on Day Forever.
Yeah. Before we dive into a little bit more of a chat about Valentine's Day, what's been fueling you up this week, Sammi?
A couple of things. We had a little interstate interlude with some friends over the weekend. They'd recently moved, so it was really amazing to see them in their new place and in their new hood and just have some time to hang out. We didn't really do like tourist things. We just hung out, which was really cool. And the other thing that really fueled me up was that we celebrated Lunar New Year. Bringing in the year of the dragon, which is what Nathan is. Nathan is a dragon.
I am.
So that was a really fun experience. And also, you've probably heard us mention that Nathan and I have both been training for a 10K race, and we both did it. We got it done, finished it, and I think both of us hit our kind of time that we were shooting for.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think you stole all three of my fuel ups for this week. No, it was amazing to get away and be down in Melbourne for a few days. Well, I haven't been down to Melbourne for a long time. I think we'd worked out it had been like 2 years or something since I'd been there. So, yeah, nice to get out of Sydney and explore a new city a bit more. But like you said, it was really nice as well to just hang out with our friends and not necessarily do the normal touristy things, but explore a bit more of kind of Greater Melbourne and what it's got to offer. We did also have some pretty amazing croissants while we were down there. So shout out to Loon for providing the goods. So that was pretty amazing. And then, yeah, as you mentioned too, doing the 10K, fun run that wasn't overly fun.
It was hot.
Oh, it was real hot. But yeah, I mean, the goal was just to finish, and given the heat, I think I finished only like a minute or two slower than I was hoping for all up. So, yeah, really proud moment, I guess. And it's the longest run I've done to date, so that was, yeah, pretty cool too.
Well done, baby.
Yeah, thanks. You did well too.
Sights set on one of my 100 lifetime goals, which if you listen to episode 1 way back at the beginning of Date Forever was with Keith Abraham, and he's got this beautiful exercise talking about what are the 100 things that you want to do, experience, have, learn, acquire, share in your lifetime. And one of mine is to do the Disney marathon. I don't think that I really want to do the complete distance of marathon, maybe half marathon.
Although our friend's trying to convince you otherwise.
Yeah, one of our besties, yeah. So this felt like a nice step in time. Yeah, I'm going to do it with a girlfriend and we're going to do it. The race will fall just between our 40th birthday. So I've got 5 years.
That's it. Yeah. Plenty of training time.
Yeah. To keep this body fit, healthy, strong, fitter, faster.
Yeah.
So today's episode, we're just going to hang out and have a bit of a chat. We've been doing the show for almost 4 years now, and we've learned a lot about ourselves and each other, about relationships, about life, about what creates happiness and sustained thriving relationships. So we thought this might be a bit topical to kind of land on Valentine's Day, about some of the things that we've learned, but how our relationship has evolved too. So Nath, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about our relationship with Valentine's Day?
For sure. So this is the other thing that fueled me up as well, is the little practice that, I guess you and we have for Valentine's Day, which is, and this has been happening as long as I can remember. I think maybe not from our first Valentine's Day, but very, very soon after. which is a practice that Sammi kind of has to give a gift or celebrate each of the 14 days leading up to Valentine's Day. So for the 2 weeks leading up in February is Love Month. And so, yeah, Sammi will surprise me with a little gift or a little something each of the days for the 14 days leading up to it.
So I'm not 100% sure how this ritual started. But I agree, it was very early on in our relationship.
Yeah, it was.
It was definitely before we were married. So we got married in 2012 and we got together in
2007.
2007. Wow.
Yeah. A while ago.
Well, yeah, this has been going on definitely longer than a decade then. Yeah. So in years gone by, I have done things like given Nath a block from a set of Jenga every day or a little bag of blocks with like personal messages written on them so that by the 14th of February, he has a whole set. We went down to the beach and played Jenga on that Valentine's Day. That was really sweet. I think it was maybe last year or possibly the year before I did red items. So I gave you like a red Powerade and...
It was red food items though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was
and a box of red Skittles, and they each had, little... It's funny because the only one that I can remember what the note was that went with it was like the red velvet Oreos. And I said, thank you for all the O's. Yeah.
But there was some cheeky notes on most of the gifts in that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this year I really lent into Nath's love language, which is physical touch. So on the 1st of February, I gave him 2 different envelopes. One envelope had the numbers 1 to 14 in it, and the other envelope had body parts. So the idea being that he pulls a number out of the numbers and a body part out of the body part, and that is how many minutes that body part gets massaged that day. So
it was a pretty good one this year. I did really enjoy it.
Being that you love physical touch and you were training for a big race and you had a few sore days.
That definitely helped, yeah.
So that's kind of been our ritual. And then normally on Valentine's Day, we would have a date of some kind. And that falls in with our 2x2x2 date night practice. So the first 2, every 2 weeks, we go for a date. Nath organises it in the first half of the month. I organise it in the second half of the month. At the second 2 is that every 2 months we have a night away, like we just did over the weekend. Yeah. We had a little weekend away out of our environment. And then twice a year we take a holiday. So 2x2x2. And that's just our framework and ritual that really works for us. And I encourage everybody to find something and a rhythm that works for you. But early on in our relationship, I was the organizer and the instigator, and I was doing a lot of the creation of those opportunities to spend quality time together. So a few years ago, we realized that we really needed a better way to have the opportunity to both give and receive. So we sort of, have found something now, and we discovered this on Reddit of all places. And then we've adapted it to make it our own. So normally Valentine's Day date falls in the first half of the month. So Nath normally organises and champions Valentine's Day date. So Nath, how has your relationship with Valentine's Day specifically changed since we've been hosting the podcast? Do you feel the same about it, different about it, more important, less important? What do you think?
So I think, as you kind of mentioned at the start, I feel like the Valentine's Day is definitely one of those days that's very polarizing. Some people love it and love to celebrate it every year. Some people are like, oh, it's just this over-commercialized thing. Why the hell would I want to get involved in that sort of thing? But I think since running the podcast, one thing that continually comes up in almost all of the conversations that we have is around this idea that we do need to continue dating our partner forever and continue to invest time in that relationship. And so whether it's Valentine's Day or whether it's any other day, I think that it is so important to continue that dating practice. And the way I see it is, why wouldn't you want to spend a day celebrating your partner? And it doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy the Hallmark card, or that you have to go out and spend money and have to go out and buy the flowers or have to go out and buy the chocolates. Like, you can make Valentine's Day look like whatever you want it to look like.
Well, that's a really great point, because like this year, the small gift and token that I gave you every day cost almost nothing, like 2 envelopes and some cards, and a little bit of thought and proactivity and quality time. Very little cost at all.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't need to be the commercialized day that Hallmark and a lot of ads and companies make it out to be. So I think the podcast, has reinforced the importance of continually dating and therefore celebrating or using opportunities like Valentine's Day to continue dating.
I agree. I think it's made me realize that it's even more important. And not specifically, I guess it doesn't have to specifically be Valentine's Day, but I'm talking more about having embedded habits and rituals and practices that amplify romance. We had a good habit and practice around it already, but it's probably made it my awareness of just how sacred and special that is for me and for us and our relationship. I fundamentally believe that what gets celebrated gets repeated. So why would I not want to celebrate our relationship? I like the prompt that it gives us to talk about, like, what's working, what's not, what have been some of your most fun or most romantic moments over the last 12 months? Like, what was the sex that has stood out the most? What was the date that stood out the most? And those tend to be the kind of conversations that we have on Valentine's Day. So I think whatever your stance on the commercial aspect of the day and the history of the day, which is a little bit blurry, I'm happy to take the opportunity to embed romantic rituals into our relationship. And I also like the opportunity that this day gives me to reflect on how loved I am and how many people there are in my world that I love. So for me, it's not just the romantic love. It really is like the big love bubble and the reminder of like the quality of my relationships dramatically impacts the quality of my life. So love up on those people. So I'm a bit squishy about this day.
So I hope that this has given you an opportunity to reflect on what Valentine's Day means to you and also what dating practice you have with you and your chosen person. So to say thank you for listening today, we've provided 7 days of training sessions for young parents to impart knowledge on child nutrition, immunisation, contraception, and family planning. So this program is based in India, is run by Academy of Root Development, and has been possible via our partnership with Buy One, Give One. So thank you so much for making that possible.
This episode of Date Forever has been brought to you by Sammi Jaeger and the Fueled Up Life Lab. If you want to learn more, come on over to SammiJaeger.com, where you can access stacks of resources to help you fuel up your life and relationship. If you've loved this episode, share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an ep. Thanks for joining us and adding fuel to your tank.